and harm the patient.
Okay. So we've got the 34th anniversary of Roe v. Wade coming up here on January 22nd. Are any of your organizations doing anything that we should know about?
No.
No?
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Well, I can talk about NARAL actually does have a Roe versus Wade event coming up. It's going to be on Saturday, January 20th, and it's called I Heart Choice. It's a youth leadership summit that's going to be, I know, I think that's adorable, I Heart Choice. And the logo has a little heart. But I Heart Choice is going to be on Saturday, January 20th at the University of Washington's Hub. And basically, this is free, open to any youth of high school or college age, and the intent of the Youth Leadership Summit is to teach youth the history of the pro-choice movement, how they can be advocates for choice, how they can talk about choice to their peers, and how they can organize around choice. So anybody who knows a youth who might be interested, if you're a youth who might be interested in attending, the more the merrier. We will serve lunch, and that will also be free. And if you want more information on the Youth Leadership Summit, you can go to our website, which is prochoicewashington.org. The Washington is spelled out, so that's prochoicewashington.org. You can also call me. My number at NARAL is 206-624-1990, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions about the Youth Leadership Summit. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like our viewers to know? Any additional thoughts on either the federal abortion ban or any reflections on the upcoming anniversary of Roe v. Wade?
Yes. We have to remember that before Roe versus Wade was decided in 1973, making abortion accessible, women were dying. In this country, women died by the thousands. And today, across the globe, in countries and places where abortion is still restricted and not allowed, women are still dying. In fact, in Africa, 700 women die each day because of pregnancy-related causes. Roe versus Wade had a dramatic and immediate positive impact on the lives of women and their health in the United States. It was a very, very important time when Roe versus Wade was decided. And we celebrate on January 22nd, the 34 years of Roe versus Wade. But, you know, we want to remember that Roe is also a compromise. It's a compromise that balances the woman's rights with the state's interest in the rights of the developing fetus. And I actually think that's wrong. I think that fundamental human rights mean that a woman should govern her own body, and that those fundamental human rights should never be compromised.
So it's really, I feel sad sometimes when I see in the mainstream press conversations about abortion, and particularly in the way that they talk about abortion rights, because they frame it as though those of us who are advocating for reproductive rights love abortions. We love abortions. We want more abortions. When really what we love and care about, in my perspective anyways, is the health and life of women and girls, and that we frame the value of abortion within that broader context of the health and life of women and girls. And I kind of, is that kind of...
And the ability of women to decide their own destiny, to make the important and moral decisions about their own lives.
Did you have any thoughts on that, Sarah?
I absolutely echo that. And just to summarize with a small statistic I read, that women who had no access to birth control, abortion, etc., could potentially face 17 to 19 pregnancies in a lifetime. That's the statistic. So even just one or two pregnancies changes the course and direction of a woman's life. But to imagine that without access to reproductive health care, a woman might face that much risk of pregnancy, and it absolutely affects a woman's right to self-determine her existence. And so we must keep that in mind as we have these discussions.
And it makes me think, talk to me about the broader work that Cedar River Clinics does. And, I mean, you don't just provide abortion services.
Sure, right. In fact, one of the things that we offer is a website called birthcontrolcomparison.info that describes all the methods of birth control. We have a great birth control comparison chart that goes with the website that we send out to people and hand out at fairs and hand out in our clinics. That's birth control education, all about all of the options, how to compare and contrast. We also do routine gynecological care, preventive health care, care, menopause care, and education. We teach women about their bodies.
So, I mean, you provide the very valuable service of safe legal abortion, but you're also teaching women and families how to care for their bodies and, in fact, prevent the need for abortion in some cases. And I think it's very interesting because, again, the mainstream press paints reproductive rights advocates as only caring about abortion and wanting more abortions when, in fact, we are the folks teaching folks how, I mean, yes, the bottom line is we want to keep it safe and legal, but we're also teaching people how to care for their bodies before that choice. So I think it's wonderful to be able to have women like you here with me today to have these conversations to sort of break some of these myths about what reproductive rights advocates are all about and what we believe and what our values are. So thank you for your great work with Cedar River Clinics, and thank you for your great work with the Northwest Women's Law Center for looking at this in a very broad and comprehensive way and looking at women's lives and bodies as not just being flattened down to their uterus, but being all aspects of their lives, all aspects of choice, from career choices to birth control choices to family choices and all those sorts of things. So this has been Community Women's Voices, and although I said earlier that Community Women's Voices is a collaborative effort between the Seattle chapter of NOW and NARAL Pro-Choice Washington, this particular show about the Supreme Court hearing the federal abortion ban was produced by your host for NARAL Pro-Choice Washington. Thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you in the future. I'm Sasha Summer Kuzno.
One in 3 women in the United States will have an abortion.
No one can tell me what to do with my body.
A woman knows when it is or is not the right time to bring a child into the world.
It's my power to give life, not the government's.
I am pro-child and pro-choice.
Listen to your own heart.
I love Cedar River Clinics because it is part of the Feminist Women's Health Organization. Our mission is to make sure that every woman has the opportunity to make her own reproductive choices.
Every woman that's come into this clinic has made her decision. She doesn't need extra time. And to have to go through a barrier of picketing is just totally unnecessary.
In the Pledge a Picket program, people make donations based on the number of picketers there are. The money comes into Cedar River Clinics and we use it for the Women in Need Fund. It makes abortion accessible to women with limited financial resources. The great thing about the Pledge a Picket program is that it turns it around on the picketers. Instead of the picketers being a negative, they're a positive. We make the picketers work for us.
There's an average of about 90 picketers a month. The point is to pledge anywhere from 1 clinic to all 3, and it's $1 a picketer. So to the extent that a picketer shows up, you put your money where your mouth is, and you pay for every picketer.
For the kids out there that are, wondering, why is this issue important to me? Why should I donate? Why should Pledge a Picket be an issue I care about? I mean, it's your future.
Put your money where your values are.
Put your money where your values are.
Put your money where your
Put
values
your money
are.
where your values are.
Put your money where your values are.